Okay, so we're first week of March, and it's now time to adjust the solar panels. So we're gonna move from the summer position, which is these guys, and then to the spring position, which those two are. I'll move in a little bit better so you can get a better view of it. But this is at my yard. My house is over there, and that's the solar shed right there with all the batteries and the switchgear in it. But as we're going past here, you can see that the winter position is very, very tall. Anyway, because we're in Canada, and so the sun goes way down to the south for us. So we have to stand our panels up nice and high to catch it. But now, just coming around the dugout here, so you can see the tall ones, and now we're moving them into the spring position. So they've done those two racks. The spring position, we don't keep it there very long, like 6 to 8 weeks, and then we switch to the summer position. So now you can see that angle. That's the spring position for those two, and the crew's just gonna start tipping them down. Yeah. Anyway, this is our first time of doing adjusting like this, so we'll see how long it takes, and we'll do an experiment or two to decide whether we should adjust 4 times or whether we should just do twice. So we'll try to figure out whether this spring position for 6 to 8 weeks is actually worth the labor to do it. The summer position is for quite a bit longer, and the winter position. So anyway, exciting. Spring is here. So here's the adjusting crew. Way to go, men. Woo! Yes. So how long do you think it's going to take for each panel once you're good at it?
Panel, hopefully 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
I think so.
Okay, good. They just adjusted this one, put in the bolts back in. Super cool. It's what? It's cold?
It's freezing ahead.
But it is above zero today. Woo! Super exciting. Yeah, one guy holds it, they get their bolts out, and then swing it into position. Brandon's tall enough to just do everything from the ground. Okay, not quite, but he's a big guy. All right, awesome guys, thank you. All right, so it's about 5:30, and the sun is, like, we're in about the 7th of March. Is it the 7th or the 8th? What date does it say? Now I've got to reset the time and date on this inverter. It's got we're off by a day and we're off by about 3 hours. Anyway, so it's the 7th of March, so we're not quite to the spring solstice. We just adjusted our panels to the spring position, but the sun is low in the sky, and so the solar panels are still bringing in some power, and you can see the arrow is still coming down into the inverter, but now we're feeding the house, and so all the power is going into the house, but I've only got one of those racks feeding into this shed. There's 12 of them, and 11 of them are feeding onto the grid. This one feeds onto the grid too, when the batteries are full and when the house doesn't need power. But when the house needs power or the batteries need to be charged, it feeds them first. So right now it's blending the power between the solar and the batteries are both feeding into the inverter, and then that's coming over and feeding. So right now I'm using 6,000 watts in the house. I think Tammy's there. I don't know everything that's turned on, but the draw at the house is 6,000 watts. For about 5,000 is coming from the battery, and then the rest is coming off of all the different panels on that rack are all feeding different voltages there. So they're adding up and feeding it all into the house so that I don't need anything off of the grid. That's fantastic, because all my other panels are feeding to the grid and selling power, and I don't want to be buying power. We don't want those arrows. But when the sun goes down, and then maybe around 2 or 3 in the morning, those batteries will get down to 20%, and then it'll start to feed power from the grid. Or if we plug in one of the EVs, well, in Tammy's car, it probably is plugged in there, but maybe it's already full or something. Anyway, so it's an amazing inverter, this EG 18K KPV, because it'll balance all these loads, and you don't have to, you just set it up and then it takes care of it. It's shocking amazing. Okay, it's early in the morning. The sun has not come up yet, but it's just getting close. And so my batteries are down to 20%. The solar's not doing anything. And everything's coming off the grid. But I have a few lights on in the house. Tammy's still resting. And we're using about 2,800, 2,900 watts in the house, which is not a lot. Just keeping the fridges and freezers going. So currently we have 3 batteries and the inverter, and we're going to add 2 more batteries here right away and move it up to 5. Then we'll see how that gets us, if that gets us through the night. With still having some battery left over. We did, Tammy did charge the EV last night. Part of it would have been done on the when the solar was still helping, but most of it would have been with the batteries in the night and then the grid. So, nope, very cool. That's pretty cool. The sun is up now and the clouds have started to clear. And so we're bringing in solar, and look at this. It's managing the power from the solar and splitting it 3 ways. So the solar's coming in, and I don't know if I've got extra lines that it's scrolling through there, but it's coming in, and 12,000 watts is going into the batteries. 2,274 is going to the house, and then 3,764 watts is going onto the grid. So the solar is coming in, and it's going 3 ways: to the batteries, to the house, and the extra is being sold to the grid. That is super cool. From what I can see up there, it looks to me like we're getting about 17,000 watts coming off of this one panel. 8,600, 4,300, and 4,400. It changes a little bit all the time there. So somewhere around 17,000 watts. 12 going to the house, or to the battery. 2.2 going to the house. And yeah, and then 3, almost 4 going out to the grid. So that adds up to the 17 from there. And these are ramping up because the sun is getting stronger. But that is amazing that it is, well, all of a sudden it shut off of the grid, and it kicked down a bit. The sun must have been a cloud went over. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's switching back and forth depending on what the clouds are doing out there, because all of a sudden we dropped a bunch on our solar. And so now it's just only feeding the batteries a little bit and the house. It's keeping the house steady, and it's just, anyway, it's amazing. Now the sun is coming back on again, and we're feeding back to the grid. Oh, off again. Anyway, super cool. Let's see what it looks like outside. Yeah, we do have sun right now, but it is there's billowy clouds, and so as they cast shadows on the panels, the production goes up and down. Super cool.